Hi, I'm strength and conditioning specialist Mike Mejia, and welcome to the second installment of my blog on helping to reduce the occurrence of ACL injuries in young athletes. Now, if you remember from my first post a couple of weeks back, I talked about how doing a full dynamic warm-up protocol along with the right types of strengthening exercises can serve as an effective first line of defense in helping to reduce the occurrence of these injuries, specifically in female athletes. So what I wanted to do here today was a little bit of a video presentation that would show you some of these drills in action. Now, although I've already done a full dynamic warm-up protocol that you can access right here on this site, we're going to be showing you a couple of special drills here because they carry with them the added benefit of really activating the muscles on one side of a joint while dynamically stretching those that work in opposition to them, making them really important for helping to ward off ACL injuries. After that, I'm going to show you some of my favorite strengthening exercises for strengthening up that lower body and really activating those glutes and that posterior chain. So let's take a look at those drills right now.
All right, so we have Nicole all set to help us out here. And the first drills that we're going to start with are going to be lying down in a supine position. That's on your back. And she's going to lie back down, heels a little bit closer to her butt. And what you can see she's going to do here is called a hip pop. She's going to bridge up and then come back down. Why don't you give me a few reps of that, Nicole? Now notice that she's got her core nice and tight. She's not allowing her abdominals to distend towards the ceiling. This way not putting undue pressure on her lower back. So she's got her core engaged and she's really driving through those heels. Now what we've got here is we've got the advantage of firing up the glutes and the hamstrings in the back of the thighs, and we're also getting a dynamic stretch on the hip flexors and the quads on the front of the thighs. Great job. So you can do those both bilaterally with both limbs, or we're also going to show you a unilateral version. Go ahead, Nicole, let's see that. She'll bring one knee in a little bit further. She'll bring that knee in so it sits directly above the abs. And now she'll brace up. Now this is going to be a little bit harder to do, and back down. Give me a couple there, Nicole. And as you can see, the important part here is she's not letting that knee get away from her as she extends up. Because if she lets that top leg get loose, go ahead, Nicole, show me one that looks like that. You can see her lower back arches right away. So instead, she keeps that knee in nice and tight over her abdominals, core engaged. And you can do anywhere from about 10 to 12 of the bilateral version or a good 6 to 8 if you're going to do the unilateral version. And those are hip pops. Our next drill, which is also done from a supine position, is going to give a dynamic stretch in the hamstrings, and you may also feel it in the calves as well, while it fires up the hip flexors and the quads as well. And what this is just a simple leg raise. Go ahead, Nicole. She's going to lift one leg up and then back down, each time trying to make it a little bit bigger than the time before. And if you'll notice, she's keeping that stationary leg, in this case the left leg, nice and straight. She's not allowing it to pop up off the ground. And like I said, each one just mark a spot on the ceiling, and you're trying to get it a little bit further each time you bring it up. About 6 to 8 repetitions per side. Let's see a few on the other side as well, Nicole. Start out nice and easy. Don't go to your highest point. At no point should your back gap away from the ground on this drill. And these are leg raises, once again, dynamically stretching the hamstring and the calf while firing up the hip flexor and the quad. All right, as you can see, our next drill is going to be done from a standing position, and it's called a hip cradle walk. Now with these, what we're going to be doing is dynamically stretching out the glutes while activating the inner thighs, the adductors on the leg that's coming up. So Nicole's going to begin by bringing one foot across her body, grabbing the knee and the ankle and lifting up, popping up onto the calf. Good job, Nicole, and alternate sides. Now she's doing these in place because we have a little bit of a space limitation here, but typically you would want to do these across a field or a court at a distance of about 15 to 20 yards, just traveling through as you do them. And you can see as she brings the leg up across her body, that's what's activating those adductors. And as she gently pulls up, she gets that nice dynamic stretch in the outside, the lateral glutes, and feeling a really good stretch there as well. And those are hip cradle walks. Our next standing drill is a really challenging one. It's called a quad stretch walk with a lean. Now, once again, we'll be doing these in place, but you can do them traveling across a field or a court. For this one, Nicole is going to begin by doing a typical quad stretch where the foot comes up, only now she's going to lean forward and try to get her body as close to parallel to the ground as possible. Great job, Nicole. Let's see a few of those. She's going to alternate from side to side. What I like to tell my athletes here is collarbone out in front of you and try to point that back knee directly behind you. Now what we're getting here is a little bit of activation in the hamstrings as she picks that heel up towards her butt. And now we're getting a really nice dynamic stretch in the hip flexor and the quad on that back leg. We also get an added bonus of a lot of stability through the hip, knee, and ankle on the support leg. As you can see, she's having a little difficulty balancing there. And that's called a quad stretch walk with a lean. Try to keep that back nice and flat and long. Our final dynamic stretch is called a band under-under. Now with this one, we have a band set at about Nicole's hip level. How low that band is going to be dependent on how flexible you are. Now she's going to start this drill by being fairly close to the band on one side. She will shoot one leg through and plant that foot with the toes pointed straight ahead, making sure that the knees also point straight ahead. And now what she'll do is shift her weight and get underneath that band, and then keep the foot stationary. She stands all the way up and through. A little taller when you stand up and through, Nicole. And give me a few reps of that. Notice how the back is nice and flat. She ducks those hips under, really focuses on shifting her weight. And we're getting a nice dynamic stretch once again in the adductors, the inner thighs. And we're also getting some activation in the lateral glutes on the side that she's going towards. So here she would be getting some lateral glute activation on the left leg, and here it's on the right. And of course stretching through the opposite adductor or inner thigh. And that's the band under. Okay, our first strengthening drill is called a cross-body cone touch. Now as you can see here, we're using a simple agility cone. And Nicole's got it positioned about 1 foot out in front of her leg and 1 foot out to the side. Now we're going to work her left leg here. She's going to begin by lifting her right leg up off the ground and stabilizing on that left one. Now in one motion, she's going to squat down by really sitting her hips back, reaching across her body, touching the cone, and coming up and through. Great job, Nicole. Let's see a few reps there. As you can see, she really emphasizes driving the hips back. Her chest is up, her back is not rounding over. And look at how stable that knee is, positioned directly over the foot. She's not allowing the knee to bow to the outside, or more importantly, not allowing it to pinch to the inside. We're really looking for that knee to be lined up directly over the foot. And this is a cross-body cone touch, and you would do anywhere between 8 and 10 reps on each side, making sure that you can pause in that bottom position for a second before driving back up. All right, our next exercise is called a unilateral or one-legged Romanian deadlift. For this one, Nicole's using a light medicine ball, but you can start with using just your own body weight because it is a difficult drill. All right, she's going to begin by softening her support leg, which in this case is her left, and she's going to bend over at the waist, lifting the back leg up behind her until she's just about parallel to the ground, and then driving up and through. I want you to pay attention to the way she keeps her shoulder blades pinched together. She doesn't allow her upper back to round. There's definitely a bend in that front knee, but we're not trying not to increase that bend as the exercise progresses. Keeping that knee soft, and you have to lift that back leg. You're going to have to actively involve the glutes on the back leg as well. That leg is not just going to go up on its own. Now what she's getting here is a tremendous amount of work, not only in stabilization through the hip, the knee, and the ankle on the left side, but she's also getting some glute and hamstring strengthening as well. Great drill, and that's called the unilateral Romanian deadlift, and you would do anywhere between 8 and 10 repetitions per side. Next up, we've got something called a lateral squat. This is a real challenge in terms of both strength and flexibility. Nicole begins this one with a very wide stance, and I want you to notice the way that her feet and knees are pointed straight ahead. As she begins squatting to each side, she's not going to allow her weight to roll out over that foot and knee. Here we go, Nicole. She's going to sit up nice and tall, hips push back, excellent, chest up tall. And as she squats to one side and gets activation in that glute, quads and hamstrings as well, she's getting a really good stretch in the adductors of the inner thighs of the leg she's going away from. Chest up tall. Let's keep that chest up a little taller when we go to the left side, Nicole. Driving up and through. Excellent. One more each, sitting into those hips. Always making sure you can pause at the bottom for a second. And those are called lateral squats, and you can do those from side to side for anywhere from about 5 to 6 repetitions per side. Our final drill is really going to strengthen the lateral glutes on the outside of the hips, and this is called the mini band walk. There's a variety of ways that you can do these, but we're going to do them with the band position just below the knee. And these mini bands are available through a website called performbetter.com, and they're a really great way to help strengthen the hips and improve alignment around the hips and knees. Now Nicole has that band position. She's going to squat a little bit, get in an athletic position here. And what she's going to do is stride out, separating the band and controlling the back leg as it comes through. She strides out and back through. Once again, we're working with limited space here, so we'll bring her back. But feel free to do these for anywhere about 10 to 15, even up to 20 yards at a time. What I want to point out here as I send her one more time each way, she keeps her shoulders and hips squared forward. She's making sure not to lean to the left, in other words, to get that right leg started. Really putting some good tension on that band and staying in that nice athletic position. And that's a mini band walk, great for strengthening the lateral glutes, and you can do that for a distance of about 10 to 15, up to 20 yards on each side.